Don't be alarmed or change your device or channel. I'm here to share a story that spans 30 years. I am a super fashion hero. I'm assigned to secretly inspire, direct young artists to utilize their gifts given to them through the vast power of our extraordinary universe. It's not by chance one has special talents. However, if not nourished, validated, and endorsed, they can often die. Over 30 years ago, I was assigned to be the muse to a young innate artist who was choosing to make a mark in the world of high fashion. A very difficult task with an extremely small window of opportunity. I've yet to meet him face to face, however. I feel it's time to reveal myself and my purpose to him in your world on Earth. Reality TV and social media have dominated humans for several years. You seem to be intoxicated with looking into the real lives of your fellow humans. So I decided to share my experience of meeting my protege after 30 years of attempting to give him the best guidance I could. Hang on, as we will be traveling through time, and I must warn you, I'm not 20 anymore, so be prepared for some rough landings. Ouch! Landing was never my favorite part of the job.
What the?
Don't be frightened.
Who are you? What are you?
I'm your muse. You've been my protege for 30 years.
My what?
You heard me. Your muse.
All right, but you don't have to be snippy.
I'm sorry, but you've been a difficult protege. No, not that you're difficult. You were given many talents and accepted all of them. Many humans given talents don't practice them all. Your society is encouraging that you focus on one, only one gift, and it becomes what defines you. It's the easiest ways society can categorize you.
Wow, that's so true. But how do you know this about me?
I'm assigned a protege. Once they've truly come into their own adult age, as their promising career driven by their talents is about to unfold, you were 28 and had just opened your couture salon on the fashionable Robertson Boulevard in Beverly Hills.
No way. That is incredible.
I'm here to help you understand what you have accomplished and where you may think you got off track. You were blessed with many human mentors and earthly angels, but that's not always enough to combat the negative forces against you. You were raised from a child as a total respecter of other humans. You always tried to practice the golden rule. Unfortunately, the fashion world can be a very bittersweet existence, especially if you're a true artist, as you are. You will be taken advantage of.
Tell me about it.
I'm going to take you on a retrospective trip of your fashion career. You can either ride with me or you can just watch right here. Years ago, you would have had to ride along with me, but you humans are making some interesting technological strides, while your spiritual strides are lacking.
I'm pretty comfy right here.
That's fine. Here we go. Ow! Yeah!
Oh, you really need to work on that.
You should see when I have to land in the 60s.
Who's laughing? I thought it was just us.
No, I just reprogrammed so the whole world can watch us. Pay attention, Garyk. Your publicist, whom you'll see in a moment, booked you on a local talk show with the infamous Mr. Blackwell, the controversial international fashion critic.
I remember well, it was September 1987. I was truly intimidated by him in the green room, but he went off to be filmed first. My mom, when I was a little boy, used to read excerpts from his column that was syndicated all over the United States. He was the renowned fashion critique. As a young boy, I knew exactly who he was.
You know, this reminds me of 42nd Street and Broadway.
Your birthplace, New York.
No, Brooklyn, New York. I was born in the ghettos of Brooklyn, and if I ever hit this street, I was big time.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I was big time.
You've been to the
That's
street, no?
wonderful. For spots, you've created an incredible illusion of a city.
It's the name of the game.
Whoever did it is very bright.
Well,
Very bright.
that's a Garyk Lee design, and he's actually our second guest today.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not. He will be here.
Oh, and by the way, I saw a couple of his suits. And what's so unusual is we have, in today's fashion world, no fine, let's say, contemporary avant-garde with a flair of the 20s or the Adrian look suit makers. We have traditional ones that do the same boring suit season after season. But we have none with the flair this boy has. I was very pleased to see his work. I'm glad to know that somewhere in the industry there is hope for some degree of sanity.
Well,
I think he has it.
He was totally impressed by you, and it was a turning point for your career. Your publicist was on target, connecting you with him. It's October 1st, 1987. L.A. was just hit by the Whittier
Magnitude 6.1.
earthquake.
It was beginning this morning in Los Angeles. A major earthquake shook up the area. It was about 7:45 this morning. The quake measured 6.1.
You had your opening scheduled for 4 p.m. that afternoon.
Oh my God, I completely remember. I was so bummed.
I was afraid no one would show up, and I was all alone prepping before the caterers and the models showed up. I kept shaking with the aftershocks and wondered, why was I even doing this? Then when the guests were arriving and we had a full house, I was thrilled.
Well, I could only encourage you through premonitions, through your own clairvoyance. You realized that your suits were your strong point.
Hey, where did you get your jumpsuit? That was my idea. The Cadillac fins. Did I create your outfit?
Well, I loved your architectural flair and avant-garde lines on the suits at the time, so I sort of stole your concept for my flight suit, as it is timeless.
Well, you certainly wear it well. And I see you got it to fly, too.
Speaking of flying, I'm off.
Where are we going?
Just a couple miles over to the Beverly Hilton. You were on a roll with your couture suits by the following year. And your evening gowns. You were doing major runway shows all around Southern California. Your first order was for Neiman Marcus main flagship stores, Wilshire Beverly Hills, San Francisco Union Square, and Dallas North Park.
I was really, really excited. Mr. Blackwell was always complimentary in the press. California Apparel News, Beverly Hills Courier, they had all just written nice articles on me and my designs. I created couture ski wear for gold medalist Susie Chaffee. Joan Collins was purchasing my designs at Neiman's. I was on a roll. I was getting the most wonderful feedback. My clients were powerful women, socialites, actresses, all with one thing in common. They wanted to be feminine and strong at the same time.
I get it. It was a changing time when women were really rising in the business world. They wanted a tailored look to be able to blend and compete. Yeah, sexy and dramatic as individuals.
Exactly. You get it. I love seeing their expressions when they would come out of the fitting room. I actually had clients that didn't want to take their outfits off. They wanted to go straight to dinner and show off my designs.
Your talents were being discovered, and the media was referring to you as the best kept secret on Robertson Boulevard.
Yes, I remember. I was still a very small operation and needed help in getting my designs off the ground and out there on a commercial level. My publicist, Marjorie, booked me on Good Day New York to do a fashion show. We were also invited to a friend's wedding at Le Cirque restaurant, and I did her ensemble, and I wanted to find perfect representation for my ready-to-wear couture suit collection.
I'm in a New York state of mind.
All right. Architects are known for building the stylish and unique structures around today's cities, but it's a background in architecture that has helped a young fashion designer really develop his style. Marion Atwell Watson had the chance to join this designer, Garyk Lee, for tea.
Rodeo Drive comes to New York with a look of fantasy. A new chapter in fashion, says designer Garyk Lee, the Frank Lloyd Wright of the trend-setting world.
I had a great experience for my first time in the Big Apple, considering how tough it was for a newcomer, and New York City was no easy feat. I dressed my friend, who was a fabulous model, in my couture ensembles, and we called on high-end boutiques. I received the undivided attention of Maison Mendelssohn, the high-end boutique at the world-renowned Plaza Hotel. When we walked in, the sales clerks gasped, as did anyone shopping. They couldn't take their eyes off my gorgeous model decked out in my 40s-inspired look. Guess it reminded them of what Manhattan was like years before.
You really knew how to design and be the epitome of class and sophistication with major sex appeal.
Thanks. Maison Mendelssohn wanted me to leave my collection so they could put it in their windows, but I reneged as I didn't have duplicates and I didn't trust many retailers at the time. Sometimes being younger and naive is a plus. No one intimidated me at 29 years old. I thought I could conquer anything. So with that attitude, I obtained one of the better-known reps on 7th Avenue.
You made the journey back to Beverly Hills and quickly duplicated your collection so you would have your designs on both coasts. You're invited to headline more runway shows, that huge one for the Beverly Hills, ICBR at MGM Filmland, Corporate Center, and guest appearances on local TV. You were busy filling orders for your New York City rep, and by early 1989, it seemed like many accomplished fashion people were encouraging you to move to New York City, as it was the capital of high fashion.
Yes, and having such a great introduction, I really felt compelled. So we did it. I can't keep up with you. Where are we going?
We're going back to New York. You made the move and relocated your business to New York City. I wasn't quite sure to encourage you or stop you, so I let nature take its course and you went with your gut.
Yeah, I often wonder how it would have turned out had I decided to stay in Beverly Hills. I was really happy that we had landed the gorgeous New York loft apartment in the historic archive building.
You were raring to go, but your first setback, NYNEX was on strike and you couldn't even get a phone.
Oh, it was horrible. And before cell phones, I literally had to get an answering service and walk 3 blocks in the West Village, stand in line for over an hour just to retrieve my messages. What a great way to start a new business in a strange city.
Well, very early on you were asked to design the lead role gown for the very sophisticated production of Tamara at the renowned Park Avenue Armory building.
Yes, I was so excited. I remember going up to the guest suite at the Essex House to fit Elke Summer. She was playing Tamara. The gown turned out perfect and it was a nice feather in my cap at the time. All the while I was getting orders on my collection from high-end stores and boutiques from Boca Raton to Manhattan. The luxury brand Bonwit Teller loved my collection and ordered for their flagship stores. Then came the news from my accountant. The stores that ordered credit was so bad at the time, I couldn't ship any orders for fear of not getting paid.
The whole industry was in a slump. You moved to the countryside, Bucks County, to get away from the hustle bustle of the metropolis. You were never at a loss for creating venues to showcase your designs while giving back to selected charities. After a few years of country life, you were really missing California.
I sure was. I remember it was a period in my life that I was truly learning how to practice visualizing my dreams and desires, listening to my sixth sense. I was gardening and came into the house and I heard the tragic news about Christopher Reeve being paralyzed. I had such a strong vision of Christopher becoming a super champion for science as he was affected by his permanent paralysis, and eventually he would aid in finding a cure for spinal cord injury.
You were really getting in touch with your clairvoyant side then. Garyk, I was so proud of you. 4 years after your epiphany about Christopher Reeve being a pioneer for spinal cord injuries, you spearheaded a huge, amazing event at this studio behind me.
It was truly one of the most challenging things I had ever done. 2 years in planning, flying back and forth from New York to LA. John O'Hurley was our MC. We had some major names associated. Steven Spielberg, Sherry Lansing, Albert Napon, they were all dinner chairs. We successfully raised close to $250,000 for the American Paralysis Association, which announced its new name that evening, the Christopher Reeve Foundation.
You really loved being back in California, and you discovered Palm Springs. In just a little over a year and a half, you relocated to Palm Springs, began the footwork of launching a new collection across the country. You not only came up with a fresh, new look, you had your investors lined up. Then
9/11 happened. Like many startups, all my investors pulled out. I had my entire New York City collection in flight to China for examples of my work for the new factory, and all was lost due to the whole disarray of that period in time. I was so distraught, and it took me several years to get back into the industry. I just wanted to get into my art, and I started putting myself out there. I was commissioned for several large murals and many paintings and interior design. It was a welcome change to the uncertainty of the garment industry.
yes, but you picked yourself up, and in 2005, Judith Chapman asked you to design her gown for the Daytime Emmy Awards. She was indeed the belle of the ball. You couldn't help yourself. You ended up once again creating the most gorgeous designs, and you were featured at the fine boutiques on El Paseo Drive. You were noticing how casual lifestyles were becoming and wanted to be on the forefront of the changing times. In 2010, you introduced a new line of sustainable bamboo sportswear, referring to it as sporture.
Yeah, I was toning it down a bit from the high glamour that was my signature look.
You do everything with high style. You can't help yourself. Everything you draw or create has class written all over it.
I guess that's what's been the most frustrating for me. Just seems like the world does not appreciate class or elegance in fashion anymore. So that's why I'm doing my art.
Garyk, don't be so hard on yourself. You're in a very good place. Look at what you're creating now. You only design for whom you want. You only draw or paint what you want. You are a true artist without compromise. You may not know it, but being your muse, I do. You gave up huge monetary success to be true to yourself. Yet you live a very comfortable and fulfilling life you may not realize, but you lead by example.
Thanks. I really needed to hear that. If I can encourage anyone young or old, it's to be true to yourself and never stop creating. I'm blessed with wonderful friends that feel the very same way.
Anyone with that attitude is a major success.
You want to grab a bite to eat?
I'd love to,
Why do I look so young?
because I know how vain you are, and I have powers.
I can't keep up with you.